but my mom found this bleacher wood at auction. It came out of schools off of old bleachers.
Hi, welcome to the Handy Women YouTube channel. I am your host, Geraldine Anello. I'm the founder of the Handy Women community on Facebook, which has over 50,000 members at this time and is growing quick because women are powerful and they are looking for the information and the support in the channel here and also in the community. So make sure to join the community, click below, like and subscribe if you like the channel. And our mission at Handy Women is to empower women with tools. And to help us with our tools today, we've got Heather, Sayla, and Norah. Welcome, ladies.
Hey.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about floors, and I see some of your floors already. So what prompted the idea of redoing floors for you guys?
Well, like 6 years ago, we went on vacation, and while we were gone, our dog got scared and tore up some of our carpet. So we weren't ready to spend the money to redo our floors, so we actually pulled out all the carpet and we painted our subfloors. And we've been living on painted subfloor for about 6 years. We used a gray portion floor paint and it worked really good. In fact, I think some people liked it better than their floors at home that were nicer than that, but it worked really well. But we were ready to have something, nicer and more. We love character and wood, so we were ready to have something that we loved, really loved, not just worked or functioned. So we decided to redo our floors. We knew we wanted wood, but my mom found this bleacher wood at auction. It came out of schools off of old bleachers. And she asked me if I wanted her to bid on it for us. And I said, sure. So we got it really inexpensively and decided to do our floors ourselves.
So these are no longer the subfloors.
These are no longer the subfloors. This is now bleacher wood. And this is an example of it. It's really thick because it was bleachers. The back isn't as pretty because we didn't do the black back. And you can kind of see on this one that it's got some gum still stuck to it.
Why is that?
Because the kids at school would take their gum out of their mouth and stick it under the bleacher in gym class.
Oh, the actual bleacher. Wow.
Yeah, it actually came out of schools in our area. This guy took it out in the I don't remember when he took it out. Some of it came out in the 50s and some of it came out as late as the 80s because there was some dates. Some of the boards have like writing on it where kids wrote on the boards. And it says, there was some.
Talk about character.
Yeah, I love it. So, and all the wood has different marks on it. Like this one, you can see where it was bolted into the bleacher with these bolt holes. And at the end, we'll plug all those holes with dowel rods. We're just cutting them to the width of the boards. I think there's like a machine you can use too, but the dowel rods are easy to use, so we're using that. And then this is where there was a metal strap that held the bleacher on. And we just left that because we just thought it was really cool. It's good character. And it helps it. Yeah.
So when you look at your floors, do you have a lot of stuff like that across?
Yeah, I can try to move the camera. You think it'll shake too much?
Yeah, so you have a lot of history that shows
over and show. Can you see the floor a lot?
Yes. Oh, wow.
So the holes, we haven't gotten to plug in the holes in this room yet, so that's why they're still there, but we're going to get to plug in those soon. Can you see? Okay.
Yes. I definitely could see.
Yeah, each board's a little bit different, and yep. So
can you guys screw a little bit so I can see the three of you at once? Fantastic. So I have a question about the subfloors because you said you lived on subfloors for 6 years, correct?
Yes.
What is the function of subfloors? If we don't need floors on top of a subfloor, why? What are they there for?
Yeah, so I guess subfloors is so underneath our subfloors is just the beams underneath the house, and then there's insulation between our beams. So the subfloor is what keeps us from having to walk like on balance beams through the house. It's what holds all furniture up and us up. And then I guess it's because it's mostly plywood. People don't think it's that pretty, so most people don't want that as their flooring. They want something that's more beautiful or has more character. It definitely worked. I mean, it worked. It just wasn't as beautiful as I wanted. Like, I just love wood and wanted wood floors. So I think it's just really wanting to have something that looks nice kind of thing.
So subfloors are very necessary, but they're not the most cosmetically beautiful. So that's why people put floors on top.
I think so. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So you were ready to do your floors and you got this wood from the school. How were you sure that there was enough wood? And how did you do to cut it up? Did it come in different sizes because it was from bleachers or?
Yeah, so we have like this huge barn full of it. I can try to send you a picture. I don't know if you have a place you can post it, but it's so funny. My mom ended up buying like 3 barns from the guy full of it. And then she has this one huge barn on her properties that we put it all in. So the pile is like as tall as me and it's probably 20 feet wide. So we have tons of it, way more than we need for our whole house. And that's why we're using it for our trim. And we use it for countertops. We make wood countertops because we have so much of it. And then, so we definitely won't run out. And there's different types of wood depending on what school it came out of, depending on who put it in. So there's this floor in this room, I think is like 3 or 4 different types of wood, and the countertops is a totally different type of wood. So we definitely have
it's 3 or 4 types of woods for one room.
Yeah, so this has like some boards that are pine and some that is like this. My brain's not going to tell me what it is now.
And it's all from the bleachers?
Yeah, so, just depending on which school and who made the bleachers for that school, depending on what type of tree they had or what kind of wood that they used in that school. So it's a mixture of all the schools in our area, Eastern North Carolina, of boards is what we bought. So we have all different types. So each board's a little bit different. And in this room, there's 3 or 4 different types. Some of it has more grain, like the pine has a lot more grain, and the I want to say like spruce fir, but that's not it. I don't know. Whatever the other one is it's got a lot less grain. Like this one has a whole lot less grain than some of the ones that you saw when I moved the camera down. And when we get it, it has a bull nose on it. The edges are rounded. So you have to run it through a table saw to cut the bull noses off so that you can, when you put it side by side, it goes flat together.
Did you do that yourself or did you get it done somewhere?
A friend of ours actually cut the bull noses off for us because I don't have a table saw. Mm-hmm. And which maybe I should have one by now, but I don't. And we tried to do one on my mom's table saw. We tried to do some, and it was really hard to keep the boards originally were like 25 feet long, and we cut some of them down to 15 to 25 feet, I think. They're so long. And we cut most of them down to about 12 feet to bring home because I had to put them in my pickup truck. And then it's hard to hold a board this heavy and this long and keep it straight through a table saw. So some guys help us do that.
Does it take a couple of people?
Yeah, so the guy that helps us do it is him and his friend that run them through so they can hold it flat and go because it's so heavy.
Wow. And when you have 3 or 4 different pieces of wood, how do you determine which goes where? Do you do it next to the sink should be this type of wood because of the functionality and it's going to be lasting longer? Or do you do it in alternates so that it looks purposeful? What's the decision making there?
So we wanted at first to maybe kind of do the same type of wood in the main space of the house. But then when we started laying it, I liked the mixture better. Like some of it has a lot more grain, some of it has less grain. And I like the way that looks. I think it just gives it more character. And I don't know, I love wood. So it just makes me happy to see all the differences. And I also love, like, one of the reasons we didn't sand all these little parts out, like this little black mark from where that metal strip was, is I love that it gives it character, it gives it a story, but I also love that, like, if you push a piece of furniture across my floor or the kids drop something or mess up a piece, you don't see it because it's got so much character and so much going on that you don't notice like the small imperfection. It just kind of adds to it instead of takes away from it. So we chose not to sort out different types of woods for different spaces, with the exception of the bathroom. We've only done one bathroom so far, and we did that all on the same type of wood. It was narrower this way, so we just used it in the bathroom all together at the same time. And we thought it was a different thickness too, so we were trying to make sure that most of the wood that was going side by side was the same thickness, so that you wouldn't trip over the little ledges. But it actually ends up being the same height as the rest of my bedroom, so we didn't have to do like a transition board like I thought we would. But it looks very similar to this, except for it is all the same type of wood. But otherwise, we just mixed it all up, and each row is not like the same type of board. So if there's multiple boards in a row, it's different pieces, because I just love that. Like, I just love the uniqueness, and I don't know, it's just so cool.
You mentioned you picked it by laying it down. Did you lay it down in a way you could easily readjust, and then once you liked it, then you made it stick? Or do you have to do it where one by one you have to, I don't even know, I say make it stick. I don't even know how you go about that.
So we started with making sure that the subfloor was mostly level. So if there was like nails or screws or anything, we flattened those out or pulled them out to make sure that the floor was pretty flat. There was a couple places where our subfloor had damage to it. I don't know if it was when it was laid, I don't know, but we just like would shave off any pieces of wood that were kind of sticking up at a weird angle, like around door frames especially. It kind of did that in a couple places. And then most people, I guess, when they lay like floors, they have this nail gun that kind of like sits over the edge and it nails down like this from the side down. And we looked at that, but it's really loud to run the compressor, and that gun just seemed so big to me. Now I'm not so scared. I think I would actually try it now, but at the time I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So we ended up deciding to, since we already have to plug holes in this, from where the bolts were, we decided we would just screw into this. So what we did is we drilled a hole down like 3/4 of the way, because this is like an inch deep. We drilled a hole 3/4 of the way, and then we sunk our screws 3/4 of the way down, and then we'll plug above that. So if we ever want to refinish it, we can just rent one of those huge sanders, and we can just sand over the top of it without hitting any metal and refinish it.
Ooh, so did you sand it for this project? Did you sand it, paint it prior to laying it down?
Yeah. Do you want to tell her how we did that?
Like how we got it ready?
So, or do you want to start with gum? Do you want to talk about the gum?
So with the gum, how we got off the gum, we would use like a tool that would scrape, and we would grab our hand and grab the scraper and scrape all the gum off by hand. And then if some was really hard to get off, the sander would deal with it, but we don't want the sander to do it all because it can mess it up, I think.
Yeah, it cakes up the paper, and then you have to get another piece of sandpaper.
Why would the sander hurt it?
So when the gum that was on the boards originally, there was a lot of it. Some of the boards were and this size piece would have like 10 or 15 pieces. So she spent a lot of time popping the gum off with almost like a putty knife type tool. And then the sander, it's gum, so it gets gummy on your sandpaper, and it just kind of like smears it across the floor.
Oh
and
no!
As it heats up, it gets stickier. Imagine like your hair. It's so bad. So getting it off fast helped. So she did most of the gum removal, I think, out of all the kids. And then Sayla, then my older son helped me sand a lot of it. I sanded a lot. And then Sayla did most of the clear coat, right? Do you want to show her?
How did you do that?
Show what you use.
So this is the clear coat we use, and we just pour it into a little container like this. And we got like sock or like an old shirt or anything, or like a bag, and put a glove on, and you just hold the sock. We have a sock in there right now, actually. We just hold the sock, dip it in the clear coat, and you just wipe the boards with it. I think we did 3 coats each board. We do 3 coats for each board, and they're 2 hours apart. And then it's just ready to be laid down after it dries.
When you do 3 coats, do you wait for each one to dry first, or you can do them back to back?
Oh, you do 1 coat, and then you wait about 2 hours, and then do another coat, wait 2 hours, and do the last coat.
And so could you do all the boards, and by the time you're done with the last one, you can get back to the first one?
No, because they have to be 2 hours apart.
So
okay. So quick to do.
We didn't do all the boards at one time. We just would go out and sand 4 or 5 boards, bring them in another room, and then Sayla would clear coat them. And then once they were done, we would bring them in here and lay them down. And we were working on all the projects at one time. So we're also working on the ceiling and trim in the bathroom. So then we're waiting while someone's sanding again. And then she would clear coat it, and then we would come lay them down. And then we just kept doing a couple boards at a time. So every time you come into our room, there'd be 1 or 2 more rows of boards until the whole room was finished.
That's like a production line you've got going on there.
Yeah, they have 2 brothers, so they helped a lot. And one of my son's friends came and helped me a little bit for a couple of the boards. And yeah, so it's definitely a love of labor, but it's beautiful. It's worth it.
I'm just still amazed at the gum situation that you had to take out all the gum. Was that gross?
No, not really. I mean, it was gross because some of the times we did it outside, and the sun would like melt it, and then like I would almost imagine like the kids chewing it and then putting it under what I'm scraping, and it would be kind of gross then when it gets all sticky. But when it's not sticky and it's hard, it doesn't really make me imagine of that, so then it's not as gross.
I would have never thought that the sun would melt it. But so now, ladies, girls, would you say you would never put gum under a chair at school now that you did all of that? You're like, no, we know better. So then you laid it, and then was there another step, or by then everything was done? How did you deal with the corners in particular?
So anywhere we had like an air vent or a corner, we use it's not a jigsaw, the saw that when you hold the top and the bottom, the blade goes up and down. And so we would just mark where it needed to be cut, and we would take it outside. And Sayla learned how to use that saw this year, so we would cut around that. My son helped do that too. And then the edge of the room, because we started on the far end and we laid a row at a time, so each board just meets up to a wall on that side and meets up to a wall behind me. And then we got to the other end, we had to cut this like one really skinny board to go under, like as a final little board, because it didn't quite meet the wall. But the edges, it's really not hard because it just goes up to the wall. And because we have a 1 inch, we're using the same wood as the trim, and it is 1 inch wide. So there's a lot of room for when you lay the boards down, if they're not quite all the way to the wall, there's plenty of room there for it to be, I mean, it's okay, because this is going to cover it up. So if you pick up our trim wood, each board that runs underneath it is just slightly different length. It didn't have to be perfect because this fits over top and covers that. And I love projects like that because I'm not a perfectionist. I just like to get things done and then be beautiful with as little work as possible. So if I can find a way to make something so it's not, doesn't have to be perfect, I always choose that option just because it's easier.
I love that. Sayla, how was it learning to use the saw?
It's a little bit tricky. Like if you first learn to do it, kind of like the nail gun. Like, cause like at first it's kind of like scary, like cause you don't know like what's gonna happen. Like you don't know how to use it. Once I learned how to use it, it's pretty easy though. Like it's.
How do you do it?
Just like pretty much any other tool, you just turn it on and cut. Yeah, cut.
Do you have to use a lot of muscle?
I mean, yeah, kind of. Like, I don't know.
Sometimes it wants to jump on you, so you have to make sure you have the right blade. And then, yeah, you have
jump on me? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, like if you put the wrong blade on it, you know, it'll like jump up and down because it grabs the wood. So you kind of have to know what type of blade you're using, and if it's jumping around a lot, then maybe sometimes we don't know what blade to put, so we'll put like one on there and we're like thinking that we're doing the right one, and then it'll be jumping all over, so we'll switch blades and it won't jump as much.
How many blade options are there?
Well, we bought this little kit and it had like 6 or 7 in it, or 8, I don't know, 6 or 8 maybe. I don't know how many out, there's probably hundreds though.
Do you change the blades yourself, Sayla?
Have you changed the blade yet?
I don't think I've changed the blade. I think usually your mom or Kyson will do that.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy though. It's just like a, I don't have it in here, but it's just like a little button. You just push it up and the blade slides out, another one slides in. So she could easily change the blade on it.
Next project. Well, that's awesome. And it looks amazing. Can we maybe see some of the trim? Because we can see the floors, but I don't think we can see any of the trim yet.
Yeah, I can try to.
There.
Try to move this around a little bit.
There they are. Oh yes, they're white. You kept them white.
Yeah, this isn't even screwed in yet. But the rest of the room is. This is the only piece that's not screwed in. So it's not screwed in because I had to paint the ends of this and I didn't want to get on the floor. So I picked it up and painted it. And then now we'll screw that in.
That is amazing.
And then this is the same wood up here that we use for this trim.
Yes.
Out there and it goes down. And on this, when we were doing this room, we also put new black hardware and hinges on our doors. And we got these really cool things that our doors stay closed. They never stay closed before. You can kind of see them up there. That's kind of cool.
That's fantastic. Well,
Here you can see we still have to finish putting wood filler where we did the screws and painting up the touch-up, but you can see it there too.
So much work in this one room. Well, congratulations. And again, Sayla and Norah, bravo for all your work and doing so much, being so hands-on, learning new things, helping mom. Congratulations. And Heather, beautiful, amazing, inspiring your daughters, inspiring us, me. So congratulations.
Yes,
You guys watching, if you've ever done your own floors, write it down. How did it go? What wood did you use? Why? What do you wish you had known before you started? Write it in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe as well. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.